Their confrontations with police were the most dramatic moments of the G20 summit in Pittsburgh. We were alongside so-called political anarchists during their protest when they were gassed by police. Our CNN crew got caught up in it.
Lead your head down. Yeah, like that, sideways.
But this was also a highly charged cat-and-mouse game. Block by block, police sealing off streets, protesters shifting direction, adjusting tactics.
The protesters have shifted direction several times. We don't know exactly where they're going to be going from here.
Now, two of the activists are charged with using cell phones and the social networking website Twitter to help protesters avoid getting rounded up by police. Court documents say just a few miles from where the protest took place, police busted the two men in a hotel room, where they say the men were observed sitting in front of computers and maps, wearing headphones and microphones. Police scanners were in the room, but the attorney for one of the men tells CNN the scanners were not being used.
To the extent that anything was broadcast about what the police were doing or what emergency services were doing, that information came from things that the police made available on the Internet. And if that information was then communicated to people who were involved in demonstrations, it's totally public information.
Martin Stolar says both men deny wrongdoing. The protest was not sanctioned, but Stolar says demonstrators still had a right to be out there, and his client had a right to communicate with them. The state's attorney's office wouldn't give us a comment on the case. But the police complaint hints at one small nugget that authorities may use to go after the defendants, that they tried to direct protesters to avoid apprehension after a lawful order to disperse.
It could form a test of whether new communications technologies are instruments of free speech or of illegality.
Defense attorney Martin Stolar told us he will argue that his client's First Amendment right to free speech was violated. Stolar's also filed motions to get some items returned to his client, items taken during a 16-hour search of his home in New York last Thursday. Among the items confiscated, communications equipment, gas masks, a slingshot, test tubes, and beakers. Brian Todd, CNN, Washington.